What's going on, guys? From time to time, I want to come on here by myself and just talk to you guys about the Arnold and what's going on with the Arnold. And one of the things today we want to talk about is some of the new advancements by the IFBB and the promoters of the Arnold, which is obviously what everybody's heard by now, the 300K for the winner, which is absolutely insane. But first, before we get to the 300K, I want to touch on something the IFBB has put forth, which I think is actually very important, and that is some of the new rules. So we're going to take a look at the IFBB's letter to the athletes. This is the IFBB's letter to the athletes. It's from Jim and Tyler Mannion, and it reads, if any athletes sign up to be considered for any invitational contest, such as the Arnold or other professional contests, that is invitational, and then decides to list after the list has been announced or posted to pull out, you must consider that you've taken a spot away from other athletes, and it's also detrimental to the promoters, blah, blah, blah. So for all future IFBB Pro League events, once a competitor list is made up, they want you to provide a doctor's list or a legitimate reason for withdrawal from the contest. I think this is actually a great thing to do because we need to be able to hold the athletes responsible, because it is a lot of money for the promoters. They are planning on having 8, 10, 12, 15 guys in the show. And if all of a sudden you've, lost 5 guys because they just didn't feel like doing it, I think that's a problem. We're a professional sport and these are professional athletes. And I think if they commit to a show, just being tired or just not feeling like it shouldn't be a reason. It should have to be an injury of some sort, an ailment of some sort, or maybe a death in the family, something serious that would really put somebody out of commission and not be able to put in contest shape. So I think that's a good thing to put forth by the IFBB. Now, just for those of you who don't know, this part of the contract is actually in all of the contracts that athletes sign. But I think what they're saying here is if a list is provided, which is generally what the Arnold does, if a list is provided far ahead of time, then you can't pull out after seeing it. Now, I think the reason they're doing that is obviously some guys may look at the list and think, well, I'm not going to place. I don't want to do the show. Or some guys may look at the list and go, hey, you know what? Not that many people are doing it, so we're going to jump in. And I think in some cases, letting guys jump in is okay if you're trying to promote the show a little bit more, and somebody of a very high caliber like a Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, a Rami want to jump in. I think it's okay. But I think for just a bunch of random people to start jumping in after the list is put out, I think is also manipulating the system a bit. So I think in years to come, they're probably going to start to do away with this thing where more people jump in and people jump out, and they're going to try and keep everybody in line with the list. Now, more importantly, on to the show, we have a original list that was provided for the Arnold, and it wasn't a very big list. It was only 8 guys. So I'm going to take a look at that right now with you guys. And this is the original list. Now, what we have here is 8 that was narrowed down to 6. So we have William still there, Samson, Sean, Akeem, Blessing is out, Charles Griffin is out. Now, Justin Rodriguez, Kamal are still in. Now, that's still a very good lineup and very competitive, but I'm just not sure why someone like Blessing or someone like Charles would drop out, especially Blessing. Blessing showed up at the Olympia off, and I think, when we're as bodybuilders, we're always worried about our stock. How good is our stock going to look? Maybe for guest posings, for doing seminars, for selling your own merchandise, you want your stock to always be high. So for somebody like a Blessing to come in and not do well at the Olympia, this is a chance for him to redeem himself by showing up in shape. So I think this is a missed opportunity for Blessing. I think Charles Griffin was amazing at the Olympia. He was overlooked, in my opinion. Maybe should have been a few spots higher. He was in awesome shape. Yeah, you're tired. Yeah, it's an extra 10, 12 weeks of dieting, but I think someone like Charles could really make an impact in this lineup and start to be talked about a little bit more. And I think that's what every bodybuilder wants. They want to be seen as a top-tier bodybuilder or on the cusp of being a top-tier bodybuilder, and jumping into this lineup, placing in the top 5 is a way to do that. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the other people that should be in the show when the prize money is being elevated and they're just avoiding it. And this is a massive show. So I think ignoring the show is it just doesn't make sense to me. The Arnold is the second biggest show in bodybuilding and getting bigger every year, and it will rival the Olympia one day. And they're going to rival the Olympia. It's going to rival the Olympia in prize money one day. And they are taking things into consideration, like adding money to the back end of the prize money. So like 6 through 12 to get those guys all to get something. And they're constantly evolving. And I believe that one day the Arnold will be a bigger show than the Olympia. And I think guys are missing a chance to have an Arnold title, have a placing at the Arnold. And I think it's still a very exclusive title to have. Jay Cutler's got 3, Branch Warren's got 2 or 3, Dexter's got 3. And it's a very, very big deal. And I think to ignore it is a detriment to these guys' career. So we're going to take a look at some of the guys from the Olympia. Now, this is the Olympia. Hadi, I can understand. Obviously, he's Mr. Olympia. Although I would say he could walk in and take another $300,000 home. I mean, why not? Just because you won the Olympia, right? Ronnie did the Arnold after winning an Olympia, but I do understand needing the time off. But look, I don't know how much time Hadi needs. He's not going to get. He doesn't need to be very much bigger. And his physique is his physique, and it's going to reign for a while potentially. Why not, while you're seen as the top dog, why not walk into the Arnold and take home another $300,000? That's a lot of money to just pass up. You guys got to remember, this is a career at the end of the day. It's not, being Mr. Olympia is important, sure, but it's a short career. And ignoring the fact that Hadi would be the fan, and well, maybe not the fan favorite, because if someone like Nick jumped in, that would be a big deal, but he would be the favorite to win the show, seeing as he's just beaten everybody. It's, I think, a missed opportunity to take home another $300,000. Now, other guys on the list, we have Derek. Big mistake, especially if Hadi's not jumping in. Big mistake on his part to not jump in and take home that $300K. Nick Walker, another one that definitely should be doing the show, especially, these guys are all playing off each other. If Nick knows Derek and Hadi are not doing the show, it's his $300K to walk away with. Brandon Curry, I can understand Brandon not doing the show because he was gone for like 9 months from home last year, so the family didn't get to see him. Rami, why not do the show? Rami, you just showed up at the Olympia subpar. You weren't at your best. Admittedly, you weren't at your best. Why not redeem yourself? Why not jump in? Compete with, if Nick jumps in, compete with Nick again, or if Derek or Hadi, whoever these guys, whoever jumps in, give yourself another chance to compete with them and be at your best. So I think that's another big mistake. Now, moving on, all of these guys have a reason to do the show, except for, I would say, Brandon Curry. And potentially Ian is on vacation for a couple weeks that already planned out, so he can't do it. I can't see any other reason why Krizo, Andrew, Hunter's another great example. Wasn't at his best, could obviously come in and show a different package. I think it's a missed opportunity for these guys to come in. Now, $300K is, I wouldn't say life-changing money, but you can do a lot with $300K, man. Big down payment on a house, pay off bills. You can do so much with it that I think it's a big deal. Now, I have talked to the promoter of the Arnold, and I suggested some things, and I don't know if they're going to do them this year or following years, but I suggested, putting in some money into the back half of the pack. That way, instead of having 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 guys, you might have 9, 10, 11, 12. And that way, if you have 12, I think you have a really good lineup of competitive people. So I think adding in, if they've made it $300K, right? My suggestion is, instead of making it $350 next year, they take that $50,000 and just give 7 through 12, 10 grand each. And then you're saying to yourself, hey, everybody gets something. That means even if a Blessing is tired or Charles Griffin is tired, they know if they put forth the effort, they're going to walk in, at least, the very least, they're going to walk away with 10 grand and be seen on one of the biggest stages in bodybuilding. So I think that would be a good idea for the future. Now, another thing we discussed was, and like I said, I don't know if this is going to come to fruition, but I said, the guys really want the black backdrop. And I said, a lot of fans are in the same boat. They want to see the black curtain at prejudge, and you can light it up as much as you want at night, but for prejudging, they want it. And I think this kind of thing would actually get more guys doing the show. When a bodybuilder knows his pictures are going to look incredible because it's on a black backdrop and they potentially have Ironman lighting, which I've heard they're also looking into. If you have Ironman lighting on a black backdrop, you know that your photos after you're done and you're looking at them months after the show are going to look incredible. We all know what those photos look like from the 90s. So I think this is something that would help benefit the show, the fans watching the show, and it would also, I think, convince more athletes to do the show because they're like, hey, I'm going to look great. I'm going to have these awesome photos after I'm done. And believe it or not, those small things matter to a lot of guys. Guys, if you want to get the pay-per-view for Arnold Sports, go to arnoldsports.com, look it up, use my code FUAD10, get 10% off the pay-per-view. Make sure you watch it. It's going to be great. They put a lot into the Arnold, and I'm telling you, as the years go on, you're just going to see it improve more and more and more to the point where I believe it's going to be the biggest show in bodybuilding. So guys, get on board now, support the guys, buy the pay-per-view, support the prize money that they're trying to pay out, support what the Arnold Sports team is trying to do, because, you know, it's not an easy thing to just take the prize money from 200 to 300. And I think this also sets a precedent for other small shows. This is a good thing for the New York Pro, the Toronto Pro, the Tampa Pro, the Texas Pro. It's a good thing for the rest of the sport, because if they see that all the athletes are focused on the Arnold and the Olympia because they're giving $300,000 and $400,000, I think it incentivizes these smaller shows to say, you know what, maybe we need to give them a winner more than 10 grand. Maybe it needs to be 20, maybe it needs to be 30. But I think this elevates the entire sport. So it's a good credit to the Arnold guys for stepping up and making it a bigger show, and credit to the Olympia guys for doing the same. And this will elevate the entire sport. Gentlemen, any of the pros out there that are watching, get to work and get to the show, man. You have a chance to be seen by everybody. This is the second biggest show in bodybuilding. This is a way to elevate your stock and win some good prize money. So if you're watching and you see this, take home that 300K. Hadi, Derek, Rami, Nick, you guys are sitting around, get on stage and show what you worked for and make that money and fucking get people to see you and get behind you. And those of you who didn't place in the top 10 at the Olympia, that maybe got overlooked and didn't get seen, this is your chance to be seen. So anyway, guys, arnoldsports.com, code FUAD10, save on the pay-per-view. Make sure you watch it. Make sure you support bodybuilding. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share with your friends, and like the video. And if you get a chance, check out the description for all the different links to all the different places you can find Hostile and myself. And lastly, check out hostile.com for our new line of supplements and all of our apparel and gear. Thanks again for watching.